This is the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra and it's a fantastic photography smartphone, but so are last year's flagships, which are the Google Pixel 4 XL and the iPhone 11 Pro Max. This is a camera comparison to find out how Samsung's 5,000 ringgit flagship fare against these older devices.
Let's quickly run through the camera specs of each phone. The Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra has a 108MP main lens, a 48MP telephoto shooter, and a 12MP ultrawide lens, plus a depth vision camera. The Google Pixel 4 XL has a 12.2MP main lens and a 16MP telephoto lens. Meanwhile, the iPhone 11 Pro Max has 3 lenses at the back, all of which are 12MP, a main, ultrawide, and a telephoto shooter. Starting off with daytime photography, I need to make 2 quick notes here. The S20 Ultra shoots at 12MP just like the rest thanks to non-binning, and all photos were shot without HDR turned on. Well, the results are that every photo is sharp, but the S20 and Pixel have deeper contrasts compared to the iPhone, which as we know will always have more natural and balanced colors. But with the bigger sensor, the S20 is also brighter than the Pixel. In this picture, we see the sky clearly being more saturated with the S20, while the iPhone and the Pixel were more natural. Overall, the iPhone is the brightest and managed to capture the details in on the blue wall on the left. Now what happens if you have a picture that just isn't as colorful? It's pretty much the same story. The Pixel isn't the brightest once again, while the iPhone subdues its colors. But you know what? It has brighter parts in the picture. The Samsung however focus lights on the center and leave the edges just a little darker. In terms of details, every phone delivers well even at 12MP. The trend here that we see is that the Samsung tries to go for a stylized shot, while the iPhone goes for more balanced colors and the Pixel just wants to show you details. But the whole thing with this Samsung is that it has a 108MP camera, and it's only fair that we compare it with the Xiaomi Mi Note 10, which is the only other phone with such a high-res lens. The Samsung has oversaturated colors, but at least it has good dynamic range. The Xiaomi is similar, but with a more toned down color saturation. But you know what? The details in both pictures are just incredible, especially when you zoom in on the holes on the walls. Plus, if you zoom really far onto the trees, you still see the leaves retaining its shape. Incredible. On this picture, we see the Samsung software trying to stylize its images, making colors warmer and pop even more. The Xiaomi in comparison is a little more dull and not as bright, but you know what, zooming in on the ledge just below the dragonfly's head, you see so much detail retained here on both phones. That is the power of 108MP lenses. So we didn't test any zooming, but you know what, with these high-res images, all you need to do is crop into a section and it will still be sharp. Remember though that shooting at these resolutions will take up a lot of storage space. Alright, back to regular scheduling. The Samsung has the largest sensor among the 3 phones and therefore has the most natural blur effect. The iPhone and Pixel have the more artificial effects. While the iPhone's blur does eat up a bit of the camera's shutter button, the Samsung is once again brighter with more illumination on the subject. When it comes to human subjects, the Samsung didn't quite blur the background as much as I would have liked, but this can be changed within the camera app itself. The iPhone and the Pixel did a better job, with the Pixel looking more natural in terms of the blur effect. The iPhone sort of puts a blurry outline around the Yvonne however. Moving on to wide-angle shots, not much to say here besides the Samsung getting a little more subject into the frame, and again it has more saturated colors as opposed to the Pixel, which is more natural. In terms of edge distortion, each photo here is kept at a minimum. When it comes to zooming, the iPhone is capable of up to 10 times and the Pixel can do up to 8. And although they lose a bit of sharpness here, it's still legible. The Samsung S20 however can do up to 100 times, but with each increment, the image gets more pixelated. 30 times is really the maximum in terms of usability, and at 100 times the image just gets really low quality and hard to make out. But it's useful for reading signs sometimes. Now we move on to nighttime photography and we see a bump in brightness across 3 phones. The S20 and the Pixel seem to have a yellowish tint, but the iPhone does offer more balanced colors. The S20 has less noise and is sharper, especially in the dark areas. The Pixel struggles to keep up here with a darker image. The same story goes here, but the iPhone has warmer colors this time around. The S20 still has a yellowish tint, while the Pixel is the best here in terms of tone accuracy. But if you're in a really dark place, the S20 and the iPhone take the cake here. The pixel is slightly dimmer on all fronts. The water fountain droplets here on the iPhone appear more detailed because of the shorter shutter speed. The iPhone once again has more accurate colors even at night. The S20 once again tries to stylize everything by making the colors pop, but that could be great for some people. Lastly, we move on to selfies. The pixel stands out by not being as bright as the other two. Both the iPhone and the S20 are similar, except the Samsung has more face smoothing. Both phones retain detail quite well. Oh, and did I mention the S20 can shoot 40 megapixel selfies as well? Like here, compare it to the regular shot, you get a little more detail, especially in the hair. When bokeh is turned on, the S20 has more natural blur and great object background separation. The pixel once again is darker and has a pinkish tint, but at least it has good looking bokeh effect, unlike the iPhone, which looks a little more artificial. You can see here it eats up strands of Yvonne's hair. At least, however, the iPhone has colors that pop. Now I'll say this, previous years' flagships can stand up to the S20 Ultra quite well. But if you could choose one phone, the S20 Ultra should be your pick because the Pixel isn't officially available here, so you have to jump through some hoops to get it, while the iPhone is more expensive with less storage and RAM. For 5,000 ringgit, the S20 Ultra is a more robust photography smartphone. Its sensor is big, so you have more natural bokeh. It has a 108 megapixel lens for high-res shots, which you can crop further. And it has Nona binning to make it 12 megapixel for regular shots without taking up a lot of storage space. Nighttime photography is great even without night mode, but you do need to have sufficiently dark subject or surroundings for night mode to work. Samsung is rolling out updates to fix certain camera bugs, and when it's out, the S20 Ultra is going to be an even better smartphone than it is now.
Well, that's our camera comparison of the S20 Ultra, the Google Pixel 4 XL and the iPhone 11 Pro Max. If you'd like to see a review of the S20 Ultra, do check the description box below for a link. This is Victor signing off. Until next time, bye bye.